Hello, Star Wars fans. You know there's just 251 days until Christmas 2022. We're just here to talk about Star Wars today. We've got some fun things to discuss. And as usual, on Mondays, we like to have my friend Jason Ward join us. Jason, happy Monday to you, my friend.
Yeah, I'm awake.
Yay!
I did it. I'm on my third cup of coffee right now, but I'm awake.
It's snowing like crazy here right now. Of course, at the North Pole, it always snows. But in actuality, in Central Ohio, the ground is white and the snow is coming down. So it's kind of, as I said before, absurd for the middle of April. But it's the Midwest. That's what you get.
Sounds good.
You're in Southern California, so what you get, of course, is excruciating heat.
That's true. Yeah, it was like 104 like last week. It was ridiculous, but I already feel colder just hearing about where you're at. Like I'm not even kidding. I'm mental. I'm like it feels a little cooler now.
It's crazy. I want to try something. I know that I tested something before. I'm going to hit a button on my stream deck.
Don't do it. It's the launch button. It's the launch button.
We're going to see if something happens or not. So
okay, War
maybe
Games.
it does. Maybe it doesn't.
I've seen War Games. I know this is a bad idea. I know it's a bad idea. I win. Look. So it's just me and my co-host, the opening crawl. Guess what, guys? There's heroes on both sides. Duh.
Okay. Well, let's see. Now, how do I undo it?
You can't. You have turned yourself into an opening crawl. You're traveling through space at light speed.
Wait, where am I?
See. Can you turn me into the opening of Superman when it's like that blue text that was supposed to be like Star Wars but wasn't? That was pretty epic. Yeah, I want to do that. Make me that
I'm in here somewhere.
Guys, I gotta be honest with you guys. This is probably the last time you're ever going to see Santa. No, I'm sorry. It got dark there for a second. I thought we lost you. Welcome
That's
back.
kind of crazy. Okay, so I figured it out. I know we tested it last week and it didn't work. But what we've got now is Streamlabs has an in credits functionality built in, and I tested it last week and nothing happened. Okay. But the way it works now is if you're a subscriber and you're here and you chat during the live stream, if you're a channel member, then at the end your name will show up as somebody who helped support the live stream. And then if you super chat, then that'll come up as well. And those different tiers will scroll by there at the end. And I figured out how to make it work. And there's a button on my stream deck now that activates it. So and we tested it. It should work. So that's super exciting.
Is there any chance we could get it where like at the end it's actual videos of us and we're just like and like with our names? Can we get like the 80s ending? Okay, yeah. Streamlabs, let me know when you're serious about this. Because I want to see Don. I want to see Don just being like,
yes.
And somebody Baymax is like in the garden.
Yes, he is. He's in the garden. He's gardening. No gardening in Central Ohio today, or apparently Western PA. It's snowing, so no garden work.
Gardening at night, hiding the bodies.
So, do you do anything with family for Easter or not really?
I hit a bunch of eggs with candy on the inside in the backyard for them yesterday, thinking that it was last year. And last year I did it, and we got a good like 30 minutes where they were like, "Where is it all?" Yeah. This time they just went through. It's like boom, 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 just pulling it all down. It was like 5 minutes, and then there's like stuff in their face with candy, and I was like, "All right, you guys win." I'm on next year though. Yeah. I told them next year it's going to be hard mode. I'm like, you guys are going to find all of this candy. There's going to be candy in the backyard for a whole year. You don't know where it's at.
Hard mode is good, but the key to hard mode is knowing how many you hid.
Yeah, I don't know. I won't remember.
Yeah.
I'll just be like, oh, Reese's. You know, I did that after Halloween because with the pandemic and stuff. Like I was like, we can't do things for Halloween, so I like hid a bunch of candy like in the backyard and put on creepy sound effects CD stuff in the background and made it real dark, and they were super freaked out. Yeah, it was a good time. But like in the last year, they became like almost a little adult personalities. Not really, but you could see it coming out, and they're just like super smart and better than me now, and I can't fool them. So
well, we went through the same thing with our kids as they got older, and then we put them in hard. We went to hard mode.
Right.
But the first year we did it, we didn't count how many we hid. Right. So the kids come back. Hey, we found them all. Well, 4 months later, you're cleaning behind something, and hey, there's an egg.
there it is. I got to be honest with you though. Yesterday, I spent a few minutes with the Easter Bunny. And it didn't mean anything. It just happened. I just want you to know, like, it didn't mean anything. It just happened. I'm sorry.
Well, it's okay. The Easter Bunny and I are good friends, and that's great. And then just for folks that weren't there on Friday, Jason and I we hopped onto the Polyhedral Paradise Live fundraiser stream. We had a really good visit, and they managed to raise just over $2,000 for mental health awareness. That was fantastic. So just wanted to catch folks up on that as well.
And do I have my facts straight? But did they make like 600 the year before, and then 2,000 this time?
I think they made just 1,000 last year.
1,000 last, and then so that's great. They did awesome. Yeah, good job, guys.
Really good. Really good. It had a lot of fun participating in that. And Ryan from over at the Den of Nerds, Nerd Executive, Ryan was there, and 2 years in a row now, Ryan and I try to take each other out. And so I donated, and then Ryan donated $1 more. And then so we kind of go back and forth like that. It just helps raise the competitiveness of it, and it's all in fun for a great cause, and really enjoyed doing that again.
But next year we're gonna funnel in secret funds, and you're gonna win. You're gonna take them down next year. You will win. So.
Well, I did win because I held some funds in reserve. So I waited, and what I did last year as well is I waited until they were down to the very final, and they were like just a few dollars short of the goal.
Okay.
And so I waited, and just as it was getting ready to end, right, I already had the donation set up there in the tab, and I waited, and then like 30 seconds before, I hit the submit button, and as they were closing, I just bumped over Ryan again. So that. I did it again this year.
You know what? They say Sebulba always wins. Not always. Sometimes you go up on that thing and then you crash down at the end and win.
Right. So I put some money. I donated a little bit, and then I waited till towards the end, and I went and checked to see who was in the lead, and then put the rest of my funds in there. to knock Ryan down again. So he's got to bring it. If Ryan's going to compete with Santa, he's got to bring it. And that's how that works. It was good fun.
Good work, guys.
It was really good fun. So we've got some just what is it? Non sequitur. Today's a non sequitur Star Wars News Day. It's good fun. It's Monday, and the one thing I saw this morning, let me just bring this up, is they're doing these things are largely pointless, right? The change.org petitions. It doesn't matter. You get a bazillion people to sign the thing. It's not going to change a diddly daggone thing. But it's a great way for folks to kind of get some attention on something they like. And the folks here started a change.org petition to get the Haslab, next major Haslab project, to be a vintage collection Ghost with the Ghost crew as the unlocks. Now, of course, I would love to get a blurg a vintage collection blurg is part of the mainline release from Hasbro. But I had to bring this up because Baymax, our friend, he has made a resolution. Should he get a Haslab Ghost, he'll never ask for another figure ever. That's what he said.
BS, I say.
Right.
BS artist. If you've seen The Greasy Strangler, which a movie he and I both love, BS artist.
Exactly. He'll stop asking for a figure for about 30 minutes. And then something he'll be like, oh, wait a minute.
Oh, but you know what would be cool? If like Ugnaughts had capes. And then he'll just be on that. Yeah. Nah, exactly. I don't buy it at all. But I do say, let's make his little dream come true. I was thinking about this when you showed it to me, and I was like, I'm not really making any of those big purchases for Star Wars stuff, like in that sphere. But like, I thought about the Rancor. Would I want the Rancor? Yeah, I kind of would want the Rancor. But was I willing to pay for it? Absolutely not. And but when the Ghost is like a thing, I kind of think about it, and I'm like, that is kind of appealing. As opposed to the Rancor, which just felt like, yeah, okay, we get it. I felt like that the whole time. That was like yeah, we get it. But the Ghost is one where I'm like, yeah, that seems appealing. I think people would ultimately want it.
The Ghost is definitely something collectors have been clamoring for, and much like the Rancor, and the Rancor was a great idea, but the execution of it, I think, Hasbro kind of went. They were off in two ways. One is that the unlocks weren't really all that much of a incentive. So folks were really complaining about the unlocks. The other is the timing. Should they had released the Rancor right after the Book of Boba Fett, and you had that great Rancor scene in there, there would have been more interest in it. So the problem you have with the Ghost is the same sort of thing. Like, yeah, collectors want it, but if you wait until maybe it shows up in a live action show, then your interest would be much higher. So that becomes my question: is when could we see the Ghost featured in a live action? We've already seen the Ghost a couple of times.
I've already seen one. I know it's coming in Ahsoka. I've already seen like stuff that it's going to be in Ahsoka. So I have a feeling that it's going to happen probably in the next years anyways after that series.
Well, I would call that a major scoop.
I already dropped that. I dropped like back when I saw, all of the characters are coming, that Hera's coming and stuff like that. Hera and Chopper and the Ghost, they're going to be in the show.
There you go. There you go. But somehow, you and I are friends. I read all your stuff. I listen to all your shows. I listen to all the nonsense you and Rob talk about. I'm familiar with the Greasy Strangler for some bizarre reason. I don't know why. Because I follow your show.
Yeah, it's the greatest movie ever.
I couldn't remember you dropping that. Is the Ghost will be featured in Ahsoka.
Yeah. It's I'm 95.9% sure that we're gonna see the Ghost because I saw stuff for Hera related to Ahsoka, and the Ghost is part of that whole thing. So I would imagine you're gonna see that happen for sure. I'm gonna say, yeah. I believe we are going to see the Ghost in that series for sure. And I don't know if it's going to be like the main setting. Like we talked a lot about how like the Millennium Falcon was like the home away from home in the original trilogy. Lucas overlooks that in the prequels, and I think to its detriment. And then we see it come back in Rebels in a smart way, where it is just like a redesigned Millennium Falcon, but the function's the same, and it's not bad, and it's good. And so I have a feeling if you have an ensemble cast who's going to stick together, traveling around the galaxy, it's probably going to be in the Ghost. But
fantastic.
But at what point is the question though too? Like at what point? Like I don't think we're going to start Ahsoka with Star Wars Rebels now.
You were here twice.
Can you hear
Nope.
me? Okay. So
Now you're just
anyway,
your ones.
Clone Wars, they've begun. But basically, I don't think I don't know if we're going to start with the whole gang back together or not in
Right.
that series. It may be
Well,
like a slow build, so I'm not sure how what the organization is going to be. But once they start officially filming, right now they're building sets and they're doing costume fittings and all that kind of stuff, and it's about ready to get going.
that's
For
and
Ahsoka.
if you think of Solo, right, the movie, then Han Solo and the Millennium Falcon are iconic, right? They go together. So and the story of him getting the Falcon from Lando is part of the story. So
Yeah.
all of that is central to Solo, but you don't see the Falcon in like the whole show, right? It's
Right.
there for iconic moments, and it's a base of sorts, but it's not like in every scene. So I get what you're saying there. The Ghost, much like the Falcon, it's not like the whole show is going to be shot from the Ghost. That would make it
Right.
feel quite small, right?
Yeah,
But
it would be bad. But fans tend to do this thing where the last thing that they heard, they take that and then they just wallpaper the whole thing with that thing that they just heard.
yes,
You know, you see what I'm saying? And that's where I'm like,
yes,
and it makes me, as somebody who will release things sometimes, it makes me like sometimes have like anxiety about, oh, if I say this, then I know these idiots over here are going to make it seem like it's all about this one thing. And it's like, do I want to deal with the headache? Do I want to put that out into the world, or do I want to just ignore it? You know,
let's go ahead, and there's a couple other stories, but this was a topic we talked about a little bit Friday, and it came up over the weekend, and we were kind of DMing in a chat about it.
Yeah,
Kenobi. There's already the grifters are grifting. All right, grifters are going to grift. It's in the title here. Hey,
the Andy Grifter Show. That's what I call
that's
it.
right. That's right. But Kenobi, people were saying, "Oh, it's a bait and switch for." It's really going to be about Reva. The show is featuring Reva. It's going to be Reva's story, bait and switch for Kenobi. It's already started, right? And it's based off of these, as you just said, right? It's based off of these stories where we get some detail, and you've been a great source for fans to get information on Kenobi. And this is a good time to say we'll be talking a bit about some spoilers. So here you go, spoiler warning. So it is a thing. Reva's story is integral to the Kenobi show. But would you say that Reva's story is the Kenobi show?
No, it's so dumb. It would be like going and seeing Batman and going, "What a bait and switch! This was a Catwoman movie the whole time." That's exactly what it would be like, which would make you pretty stupid. It would mean if you had any knowledge about how films are made and story structure at all, you may have been in a bad accident and you should probably go to the hospital, because it just shows like you just have poodoo for brain. Bantha poodoo for brains is what I would call it, because that does not add up. I mean, it's very frustrating and it's really stupid, but I wish that it like everyone was a bit more. I wish people were held more accountable for their BS. Like, if somebody gets something wrong, if the ghost isn't in it, sorry guys, got one wrong. Okay, like it does happen. I get a lot right. Sometimes something is off or whatever. Something was misinterpreted, whatever. But when somebody is literally continually misleading you, like a cult leader, to milk you for super chats, come on, like, don't keep going. But what are you doing? Like, that doesn't make sense. Don't give it to me. I don't care.
I need the retweets in the clicks, Jason. Come on.
Yeah,
it's the game.
It's really, and but it's actually like a huge bummer. And I will be honest, like there was times like I had done the Force, so I had done actually Rebels started leaking, got into Force Awakens after Lucasfilm pulled their funny business on me. And I was like, okay, I'll just start releasing whatever I want, doing it however I want my way. Started doing that. So, but when you go through Rebels, Force Awakens, Solo, Last Jedi, and then by the time I got to Episode 9, I had Rey's Force Lightning. And I danced around it. You can see the videos. I just did not have it in me to deal with the stupidity that was going to come from that one. You know what I mean? I actually go, somebody gets things, they're dead, and I'm just like, I just did not want to like do it because they broke me. And but it's a continual thing, and you can see it over the years, like the same players who go through and do that. It's like I've like I said, I've had to conclude that actual true leaks are not good for these people. They actually I don't think they actually want them. Because when you don't know anything, you could say anything free of repercussions. You can make it sound however you want. You know what I mean? The Kenobi series, all the episodes are 1 hour and 20 minutes. And boy, is it going to be just Kenobi not leaving Tatooine because you can't do that. And then you get this whole thing and you're able just to like make content endlessly out of it. But when somebody says, okay, here's the story, you're like, well, what can I do? This makes me kind of mad. Because now I got this Reva character. I don't even know how it ends, so I'm gonna just pretend that it's all about her now. Yeah, I'll just do that, and I'll make everybody upset.
Bespin Bulletin.
Yeah, speaking of grifters, Bespin Bulletin making up stuff all the time. No, Bespin Bulletin's the best.
Yes, Bespin Bulletin is fantastic. We're going to reference a Bespin Bulletin article coming up soon.
What
you guys? I've got links to Bespin Bulletin as well as Baking Star Wars and a couple other stories we're going to talk about in the description here. So make sure you do follow them. And Baymax is right. Yeah, it's not as innocent as getting it wrong, right? They're deliberately dog whistling a certain group of people to come click on their videos and to get worked up and riled up over these things, right? The people who don't have any amount of thinking skills to go through and say, is this reasonable? Is this something that I think will happen? And there are some foundations that people use for this, right? They say, oh, we'll go back to Book of Boba Fett. It wasn't really about Book of Boba Fett. Well, yes, it was. Book of Boba Fett was about Boba Fett. Maybe it wasn't maybe your favorite episodes were the Din Djarin episodes, but the show was about Boba Fett for sure. So it's a little crazy to be going off the deep end to say that it's going to be a bait and switch. It's just not going to be it, right?
Yeah, I mean, think about how crazy that would be. I mean, it's so ridiculous. It's like, I don't understand it. Is it like allowed? Is it okay because of like wrestling? I'm just trying to figure out the world. I don't understand it. Like is it like WWE logic? Like, oh, they're doing it, and then here comes blah 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 off the top ropes with something else. It's all about Reva, brother. Like, it doesn't make any sense. It's so dumb. And it makes my head hurt because I actually like want to like think about Star Wars. I don't want to think about some third-rate internet version of what's going to happen. I don't want to speculate on what some dumbass on YouTube thinks is going to happen in the Star Wars story that they just made up. Like that, like who cares? If trust me, if you're making YouTube videos only, you're not good enough to go and make your own story. So you don't know anything about anything anyway. So you just need to like enjoy what's coming and let's synthesize that and analyze that. But with authenticity, because they know it's not the Reva series. When I go and I put out stuff about 6 under 6 hours, but probably about 4.5 hours worth of content, and I give you one arc where somebody's mad and killing people, and then they see like youth being killed, and at the end are they that person? Oh, it's all about them now. Like, How does your mind perceive time?
Yeah.
Right?
I love this
Right?
X-Wing. Jason's clearly attacking my channel right now.
X-Wing, you are going down. I'm tired of all of your, you know what? Put your S-foils in attack position because it is on. This is where we go toe to toe, brother. No, I love that. X-Wing is hilarious.
Yes, there's Bespin. So yes, this is with the Reva story, right? So in Bespin Bulletin, like yourself, you guys have been fantastic content for what's coming up in Kenobi.
Yeah.
The two of you have been giving us reliable information, stuff we trust, stuff that we are following. And as Meg says, she gets accused of making up stuff all the time. And it's because she's got 100,000 subs, right? And people listen to her stuff and then they misread it and they twist what she says into something that she didn't say. And that's exactly what's happening with Bespin and yourself with the Reva story, to say, oh, no, Kenobi's not going to be about Obi-Wan Kenobi. It's going to be about Reva. It's a bait and switch SJW story to show the virtues of people of color and gender over a white male.
Oh. Yeah. And to those people who just want to divide you and upset you, I can tell you that they are giving, if you want to look at it through the cultural lens, they are giving, I would say, dark-skinned people a Star Wars villain that is interesting and actually fascinating, at least in terms of what I'm hearing. And they don't pull the punches, for the record. They don't pull any punches. And that's like I said, there's this little bit of ambiguity I have left, and in that spot they thrive.
Yes,
it's just true.
Yes. And this is true. Bespin's correct here as well. Like, they just moved the goalposts, as you said earlier. Nobody's held accountable for what they said, right? Yeah. Like, oh, Kathleen Kennedy rewrote the sequel trilogy, and she made them shoot her movie. It's all hers. And it's like, wait,
you want to know what? You want to know the actual comedy is, in my opinion, and I think it's accurate from what I was hearing back in the day. That was way more true. We're going to see the Kenobi, a Star Wars story. I think in the aftermath of the series, we're going to see that put on a pedestal, as if it was this magical whatever they don't like in this thing, they're going to put onto there and pretend. I've heard people say, "Oh, it's all about these. It's all about just stuff that is not true." The original movie. Oh, but what we're going to see is that be put up on a pedestal. But what's funny is, I feel like Reva was much more of the other side of that story in the film than what we actually are getting in the end.
Well, I liked your analogy before of the Batman and Catwoman. Like, if you've seen that movie, and Catwoman's character arc is in the movie.
Sure.
You see kind of how she came about, what the context for her character is.
It's a thing that good movies do.
Resolved,
it's a thing that good movies do. They have character arcs, not just the heroes.
Right. and it would be fantastic to have, like you said, it's what a good movie does. And I think most people think that the Batman was done well. I mean, there are parts of it that people are nitpicky on. Right. There are parts that people complain about, like the Riddler isn't that character, but they used the Riddler to do that character anyway. Whatever. Right. There are people who complain about certain aspects of the Batman who are really into it. But I think overall, the audience reception has been good, and that people are looking at it as a really good movie. And the Catwoman's story arc helps make the Batman a more fleshed out character. The connection between him and Catwoman, it makes it a more interesting story. Yeah. It's not a bait and switch, right? The Batman is not Catwoman movie. She's in the movie, but she has a character arc. And what we're saying here is that Kenobi has a villain, Reva. Reva has a story arc that goes with the overall series to make it more interesting, rather than just a one-dimensional character that he encounters.
Right? Well, we were always going to have a character that is either Reva or like Reva, based off of the fact that we can't kill Darth Vader. He can't actually conquer his main foe. In this story, it couldn't be Darth Maul because they killed him in Rebels. So there was only one option, and that was to make another B villain, if you will, to the A villain whose fate, she can die, she could live, she could be transformed, she could get even more evil. For all we know, I haven't put out the very end stuff. She may get even more evil. I haven't said for certain one way or the other how that goes, right. for the record. And but we were always going to have this. And if the main character does not affect anybody in the world that he lives in, what an ineffectual character at that point. If no one in the story is affected by that character's actions and deeds and stuff like that, then nothing matters. There are no stakes, and you might as well just be watching a throwaway episode of one of the cartoons, which those same people are mad about all the time.
I've mentioned the same thing on a novel that I read. It's Lords of the Sith, and it's the story of Vader and Palpatine are the Lords of the Sith, right? And it's a great story, but the premise of the story is that a group of Twi'leks are trying to free Ryloth. There's a free Ryloth movement, and they've got a plan to kill Vader. You're like, well, that ain't happening, right? Like, that ain't happening. Yeah. What's going to happen is you're going to die. That's what's going to happen, because when you go try to kill Vader, right? And so the whole time I'm reading the book, as interesting as the book was, there were no true stakes, right? Like, I knew Vader's going to live, they're going to die. This is how this story is going to end. Like, so I get what you're saying, right? Like, rather than have this be a Vader big bad, that's the nemesis of the show, you get another character, one that doesn't have all of this backstory that we're kind of beholden to, so that there are possibilities on the table. Yeah. Whether those play out or not is what makes the show kind of have some stakes. Might she die? Might she not die?
You can't kill Owen, Beru, Beru, Obi-Wan, Darth Vader, Luke, Leia, Bell. Like, the list goes on and on of people that you literally can't kill that have to be players in the story.
Right.
Or who have cemented fates that we know everything about.
Right.
Right. So, well, new characters were going to have to be a thing. Like, it just goes without saying.
X-Wing's making some good points in the chat. And I'm going to try to do a live stream with X-Wing maybe tomorrow. He's got this week off, and we'll have a discussion. But and he's making a point here, right? The prequel suck because I knew the ending. Well, there's storytelling involved, right? And people love the stories that were told, even though they knew the ending. Yeah. Right? It's like watching Titanic. Oh, I already know the ending. But did they build an interesting story?
What? Are you serious right now?
What happened?
You knew the ending before? That's crazy.
Yeah. So can you make interesting characters that have an interesting story inside the story? Right. Yeah. When it becomes not about the Titanic, it becomes about, Rose and whatever. Then that becomes the interesting point, right? That love story, so on, right? The same thing happened in the Fallen Star. It's a High Republic novel. You know what's happening on the larger scale. You know that space station's coming down. It's the Titanic. It's the story of the Titanic, essentially, right? That thing's coming down. You know it's sinking. But what's going on in between? Are these characters these specific characters going to survive? And is this specific issue going to resolve?
Yeah.
The space station coming down isn't the story.
Right.
It's that, right? So you get the same sort of thing with the prequels. What's going to happen with these characters as they, like, that Anakin ends up being Darth Vader. Oh, spoiler again. Oh, but it's how does he get there? Is it a compelling story? And it's one of my beefs is I never cared about Anakin. Right? I never got a compelling character in Anakin that made me care. So that when I saw him become Vader, it had some sort of effect, right? It had no effect on me because, first of all, I knew this dude becomes Vader. Secondly, I didn't care about Anakin. So, yes, the prequels fell flat for me. And they still fall flat for me because still going back and rewatching the sequels or prequels, doesn't matter how many times I watch the prequels, I still don't get invested in Anakin's character. And so I agree. I think one of the things I've seen more recently is that in the prequels, one of the best characters in prequels, maybe the best character in all of the prequels, is Obi-Wan Kenobi. Like him, I care about.
I find what's interesting about that is just looking at it like a little bit critically. Obi-Wan, he starts off a little bit racist, but after that, he kind of lets that go. He's kind of like, about Gungans and stuff. He kind of has like this a little bit of but he doesn't really change. That's what I'm kind of curious about this series, because I think it's in a really, really wise way. They went and Kenobi doesn't have a very good arc. Things happen to Kenobi, but he doesn't change. He's the same guy the whole entire time. Nothing, he goes through things though. He's kind of a Marty McFly in a way. And but we do see him left down and out at the end. He is bad. So that's what I like about this new series, is that we do see like he does actually he does get a bit defeated, because he was. But then we see him become Alec Guinness's character, who's like, Kenobi, he's me. It's a big difference between. And so they actually have, from the evidence that we know of, done a really good job of giving Kenobi an actual character arc. It's not just the same guy who's just like, I say things in a British accent, so you think it's witty, because that happens with Kenobi sometimes. It's not really that witty.
Right. And so that's great. I appreciate you bringing it back around to that, Jason. Masterfully done, my friend. Good job. But there we get the Kenobi story is not a bait and switch about Reva. It's Kenobi's story arc, where he starts off in that defeated, he ends in a different place. You see how he gets from the defeated to the different place in that story arc. We all know that he's going to live. Ooh, shocker, right? he this is not his finale, but we do get a story arc of Kenobi. Had this show been done differently, there'd been no story arc, no character arc, nothing in the development, and it could have been far more flat. Right.
Yeah, so you have to have if you can't have actual deaths, you have to have symbolic deaths and rebirths. And if you don't have that on a character who just is going to live, you got nothing. You got nothing in that series. But I will say, of all of the things I've ever known everything about before it came out, Kenobi is the one I am betting on the most. Like with all of them, with Force Awakens and Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker, and there was always a little bit of something where I was just like, I don't know, I'm not sure if that's gonna work. Like in this one right here, I have less about this series than I do about any of the stuff we've ever had, including Mando. So I'm expecting it to be for me, the best thing that they've done. That's the high bar I'm setting for myself. And
that's a great point. So I was talking with Meg last week, and the discussion came up on what's your enthusiasm level for the Obi-Wan Kenobi. I almost said the Book of Kenobi because of what the chat, right? What's your excitement level for the Book of Obi-Wan Kenobi? Meg said that she started very, very high, but now she's down to like a 3. Like she's
Really?
really, yeah, she's really kind of put off by a lot of things that she knows. Um, I would say that I am somewhere around a 6 or a 7, only because of the discussion we just had about fans and the stupidity among many people, right? So
Yeah.
Meg said she said a 5. Okay, so where are you in your excitement level for the Book of Kenobi?
The Book of Kenobi? Well,
Yeah.
a 9. I'm at a 9. I always say 10 is 10 you can't achieve a 10. I'm as excited for it as I can, and I think it's going to be as good as it can conceptually be. Like that's where I'm at. I'm at with it.
Yeah.
And I will say, I feel like Book of Boba Fett was as bad as it could conceptually be. You have you have Boba Fett, and he's taking over a planet. I still don't understand how that one got through their fingers. I still don't get it.
Matt,
But
this is your fault, by the way. Book of Kenobi is your fault. You
Book of
brought it up.
Kenobi.
Now it's in my head, and I can't get it. I love it so much. I'm just going to keep calling it that. At least
Kenobi,
today.
a novella. It's a limited series after all. So
there's another story that and I'm just picking different sites. This one came from this site is the Star Wars News Network, and they're talking about this story that came out late last week, where Rupert Friend was interviewed about this other show, right?
This story's really getting around, huh? That's for you, Meg. That was for you.
Oh,
yeah.
There are one of the things he said in here is that it has wonderful cameos and it's a thrilling ride, right? Kenobi. That's again a little bit of a warning, and I saw Meg in her video said we heard similar kind of enthusiasm for Book of Boba Fett going in, where like, oh, all killer, no filler, and this is going to be the best thing ever. And you're like, temper your enthusiasm, right? Calm down. But it does bring some great kind of this wonderful cameos line, brings us to a wonderful speculation bit, and who might these cameos be? And I know
them all.
No.
Yeah. It's 3 Inquisitors, Beru, Owen, Luke, Leia, and Bail Organa.
Oh, but now you just ruined it. You ruined it. Now all the fun is gone. Jason sucked all the fun out of this discussion. We were going to talk about who's the one that Meg was talking about this morning.
But every butt you see is Rex in his armor. I promise. That I promise. He's not talking about the show, but his butt is.
Oh, he's in the thumbnail. He's in the thumbnail with the forearms. Dex's Diner. Dexter Kenobi. Right. Right. Which is there's a lot of fun. Like, could we get to see Dexter Jetster? Right. Yeah. So that would be cool. What might you get to see Watto? Might you get to see like some of these other people?
I wish.
Well, sadly, no. No.
Yeah. See, if you run a grifty YouTube channel and somebody's releasing accurate spoilers, probably kind of infuriating, huh? I'm just gonna say, because right now you'd be making a lot of money about how the forearms of Dexter Jetster hug Kenobi in the aftermath of the death of Padme Amidala, who I have heard has been recast, not as a white person. I mean, right there, that could be a video, and you could be making hundreds of dollars on that video, and now you won't. I'm sorry, but I think what Rupert Friend is saying is true, and it's accurate for like just your average Star Wars fan who doesn't follow internet happenings and stuff like that.
Right.
I mean, because it is true. I mean, and what he's saying is not inaccurate. It's all cameo. It's funny. People are like, who's the secret cameo gonna be? It's like you got Darth Vader in it, and you got Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru, and
So
you got
what I hear
Luke
you
and
saying
Leia.
is
Like what do you want? And he's teasing Leia because people aren't supposed to know Leia's in this.
so what I hear you saying is in our weekly predictions poll, I should put we see Dexter Jetster in this episode.
Yes.
And then we know who all the idiots are because they're the ones that say yes.
Yeah. Well, what happens is Obi-Wan officiates Dexter, Jetster, and Watto's wedding on Ordentel. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the Inquisitors come to like show their respects for Watto because he used to own Darth Vader, and that's pretty metal if you think about it. I don't know.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
That's great. Well, let's talk a little bit about Bespin Bulletin's article. They've been here in our chat this morning. This eclipse is going better than previously reported, and again, these I'm picking from Star Wars Newsnet, Bespin Bulletin. We're going to have a fun discussion about your article too. I put in the chat this morning. Did you see the what your chat, what your story relates to? I made the connection.
No. Yeah. Actually, I did. Okay. Sorry.
Okay.
All right. What is Bespin telling us with this?
Bespin is saying that Eclipse is going better than previously reported. There were some stories in here saying that it's not going to come out until like 2026, 2027, 2028, something like that.
After World War III. Got it. I'm marking it on my calendar. We got it.
Right.
We're good.
Right. So what he's saying is
look at that little elephant. Look at that little elephant. Look at him. Look at him.
So this started off it says they were reporting 27, 28 release date, but they are saying now 2025. So it's better than the 2027, 2028, but it's also not as good as they initially reported of 2024.
Mm-hmm.
So not as bad as they said, but also,
Yeah, I don't know. Bespin is he's a video game man, so he's much better at assessing gaming than I am by far because he like follows the industry and stuff. But the one thing that I will say is until we know they have a new engine for that game and it's working, I don't know what to expect in terms of how you can predict what's going to happen until that has gone on. If they are going to do anything at all with it whatsoever, it's going to have a new engine supposedly, and it has to work. So for all we know, we could get down to the end game of this, and then the engine's not working out, and it needs another year, and then now here we are looking at that original reality that we heard about.
Right. It's Lego Star Wars, right? Lego Star Wars. How long was it delayed? Right, like forever. What makes people think that Eclipse wouldn't, especially since the ownership may be changing? Right? Those were all rumors. I don't know that it was ever confirmed that they were bought out by the stakeholder.
It's going to take some time for the actual like acquisition to happen and for all that stuff. When they asked the company who was buying them, they were like, an offer has, they wouldn't say they had done it. They're like, yeah, an offer's been made. Like letting us know it's ours. Like they did do the wink, wink. It's real. So for sure that should be a thing unless there's some weird hiccup that, from in the industry that I don't understand, but I still on this one. I still go like, man, I don't know if it's I'm not sure if it's going to happen. I'm still like, it's good news and I want to take it, but there's so much bad news that goes with this game and so much baggage that goes with it. I still am not like, I followed Ragtag, which had a lot more going for it, and saw that just die. And it makes me go like, this one's going to happen. I am so like, I've been hurt before. And I'm not, I'm not optimistic still.
No, That's why I'm like, okay, well, they're saying 2025, which is still 3 years out. That could happen. But the 2027, 2028 kind of predictions might end up being more true, or the it ain't ever happening might
Yeah.
be the truth, right? Like you said, they've got to come up with an engine for it. They've got to hire developers. They've been having some trouble with that. This acquisition's got to go through. They've got to get the reorg done, and they've got to get everything put in place. Hopefully, they'll end up with a new, again, like a different industry term. They need a new showrunner for the game, right? They need to get, because all the baggage that comes with the current dude needs to be shot out, right? That needs jettisoned. So they've got a lot of work to do to get to the 2025 date.
Right.
Maybe it will. Maybe it won't.
I hope so. I hope it comes out and it's fantastic and it's good and and all that jazz. But I'll record all the gameplay and you can watch me play it. That way, because you probably won't be playing like. Wait, would you play that? Do you have a system to play games on, or do we just use computer, PC probably?
I would use PC.
Yeah.
I did buy my daughter an Xbox.
Mm-hmm.
She's got an Xbox, but I can't have a system.
Yeah.
And I had to hide the controllers. So I got rid of all my systems. So I got rid of PlayStation. I had to play a PlayStation 2 like back in the day, right? Yeah. And I had a Game Boy, all that. And then I had to I got rid of those. And then I was like, oh, but I really want to play this game. I think I need to get a controller. So I bought a controller for PC, right? So that I could play games. And then I had to hide those from myself, right? I just recently found them. And of course, now they're so old, they won't interface to my new computer. Oh. But yeah, so they've got those old jacks with all the pins in them. I can't remember what they're called, but anyway, yeah, it ain't gonna work. Ain't gonna work. Yeah. X-Wing, you're right. Epic Games. Yeah, Epic Games said no, already done all the work. Blah blah blah. Yeah. We'll see. We'll see. You didn't hear anything about that. I heard nothing about an acquisition. X-Wing of it was a big news wave on the folks. Who is it that was doing the game? I gotta go back and pull up Bespin's article.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it was Quantic Dream, and they're being acquired by Bespin. Lets us know NetEase reminds us it was a company called NetEase, which was known for like cell phone games. And then, as Bespin points out, they're a majority stakeholder in the company already, and so it sounds like they're just trying to take over the whole company and I guess expand out of mobile gaming to some extent.
Yeah. So it's NetEase X-Wing. NetEase is acquiring Quantum. So that's it. Yeah, there you go. There's Bespin right there. Yes. There you go.
They make solid fishing nets. They make nets for capturing people, sacks.
All the good detail is in Bespin's article, X-Wing. Yeah. So in the link to Bespin's site is in the description here. You should already have it bookmarked, tell you the truth. Bespin Bulletin and Making Star Wars should be bookmarked on your computer. So that's what I say. You don't have to look them up. Yeah, it's true. Another story before we go to all just the fun is, and I pulled this from Fantha Tracks. This is sort of really sad. Rio Hackford passed away. He was the sort of animator, the puppet guy, if you want to put it that way, for IG-11. So we know that he was voiced by Taika Waititi, but this is the guy that was making his arms move and all of that. He passed away at 52 years old. Pretty sad. Yeah. Pretty sad. So there just 52 years old.
Does it go into a detail about how he passed or why? Is cancer or something?
I don't think he did. I don't think they talked about I don't know that they've talked a lot about that. I don't know if it was a heart attack or cancer or anything like that. Really
Yeah.
sad.
Yeah.
I'm turning 55 this summer, and this dude, just 52 years old, just hit
Yeah.
really big with IG-11 and being a friend of John Favreau,
Right.
all of that. It's kind of sad. So
Yeah, no, it's a
uh,
huge bummer. It's awesome. I mean this just to see the silver lining in something. It's great that at the end of his life he got to be like IG-11. That he wasn't like, you know what I mean. He got to like
right.
contribute like a something huge to like Star Wars, and I mean that's like the silver lining in terms of like professional legacy. I guess that's pretty cool. You
Yeah,
know.
it's really cool. So I wanted to get to, hey, Polyhedral Paradise Live made it here. Good to
Hey.
see Jason Presson. Again, congratulations on the live stream over the weekend and all the money you raised for that. Really, really important stuff. So,
And you're welcome.
appreciate
I didn't go on your show and sing Gangster's Paradise about Polyhedral Paradise. I didn't do that on your show. You're welcome.
You're welcome. Yes,
I was in my mind the whole time, the whole day. I still get every time I hear Polyhedral Paradise, I hear Coolio singing the song.
Very good, very good. So it took a little bit for my brain to connect the dots here, but you did this story on a funny moment in the Spice Den. So
Yeah.
again, spoilers for Kenobi. That there's a scene where he escapes by releasing a bunch of spice, and that makes people kind of lose their concentration on being able to chase him. And
Wacky space tobacco is what they call it.
My brain's like, I saw a funny movie where that happened, and I was trying to remember it. And this morning I did remember it. It came from Mel Brooks in History of the World, right? And in this movie, I'm going to just mute it here, right? They've got this giant what do you call those? I don't know. Blunt. But I don't know. Is that what that's called?
I call that the devil's grass.
Okay. So they've got
devil's
the
grass cigarette. A devil's grass cigarette.
They've got it lit, and they're running away, and all the smoke is following them, right? And so as the folks come to, it's a super doobie. That's it.
I call it a life stick. It's the opposite of death stick. Life stick. It's good.
A joint. Yeah, that's the word I was trying to think of. They get distracted by it, and they're like, "Oh, how about we just hang out here? What were we doing? I don't know. I'm just right." Like that's what happens in this part of the movie. And again, it's Mel Brooks. It's great fun.
Yeah.
I love these movies, and like. It's hilarious. It's hilarious. So I thought when in your story you said that that they dump the spice, and everybody kind of inhales it, and then they become kind of distracted by it.
Yeah, in the Spice Den, yeah, he basically hits the spice dealers or the gang or whatever they are with that, and they all get a little bit wacky. and is able to escape. Yeah. Which I thought was just like I thought that was fun. Which means the whole show. I'm afraid now the whole show is about doing spice. It's all about people getting messed up on spice and being real high flyers.
Well,
where's that story? That would be fun if they thought that. That would be the greatest day ever.
Kenobi just lifted History of the World. It's actually going to be a remake of Mel Brooks's History of the World. Clearly, that's
Mel Brooks' History of Star Wars. I would watch that. That'd be a good time.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, look, I get it. It's good fun. So look, I think it's when my brain connected it finally, and I remembered where that came from. I was like, oh, that's going to be fun. And in your story, you're talking about it's a fun moment, right? It's sort of a funny take. And so I don't know. Had you made that connection yet?
No, I mean, I know of like there's like that general like trope of everybody's like, oh, after something and to get out. But I hadn't connected it to, but Kenobi, like I think he actually like throws it in their face. I'm not sure if he throws it or if he like force pushes. I don't know how he does it.
Right.
But he like propels it at them, and then they all go down, because there's like a really cool hallway fight is what I hear in that spice den. And then I think it's like all the stuff goes down, and then it's like, oh great, there's more, and then he just does that thing and they all go down. He's like, okay, I can get out of here now. And
I would love if they pull a line from there. Like, I'm just gonna walk in circles. Like,
yeah,
like that's one of the lines. If they pull something like that, I'll lose it. Terribly funny. Terribly funny. So that would be great. All right. Well, I think we've gone an hour, and you're going to live stream at the top in the next hour with Rob and friends.
With Rob and friends. Today we're doing a live Gonky show. It's going to be all about gonks. If you love gonks, you're going to want to check it out. It's going to be a live Gonky show.
Very good. Very good. That should be fun. You guys, the link to Making Star Wars is in the description here. You should be already subscribed. You should have all the jingles on. You should have all the likes. And yes, and hanging out over there. It's always a lot of fun. And if you join the cult, then Rob will make fun of you too. Mm-hmm. I know. Yeah. It's sort of a benefit of membership is that Rob will pick on you and insult you and make fun of you. It's fantastic.
Part of being in the space cult. It's part of our space cult.
It is.
Yeah.
I love that Rob one of his favorite tropes now is to just impersonate me. It's so much fun.
Yeah. Yeah, he's after you, man. I don't know what you did, but that guy is really on to you.
I know. It's a lot of fun. I love it. So, you guys, yes, I live for me too, X-Wing. That's why we're friends. I don't know.
If you're in online Star Wars fandom, you are a masochist at some level. Let's just be honest.
True. So hopefully tomorrow, X-Wing and I will be able to do a live stream together. We're going to see if we get Sheev in there as well. But we'll see if Sheev's able to make the there he goes, Man on the Moon. I love cults.
We have Flavor Aid here. We have Flavor Aid. Sorry, we're authentic.
Well, look, I use Mio Energy. It's Mio for me. That's my Kool-Aid. So
I use Jim Jones Energy. We're on the same page.
No. Oh no. All right. Well, with that, my friends, I think we're going to call it. I'm going to hit the button, and we're going to see the end credit scroll. Everybody who's participated in the live stream, thank you so much for being here. Please do all the things, right? All the things. And if you see your name, it's because you are a channel member here and you participated in the chat. If you don't see your name, shame on you. You should become a channel member and participate in the chat. That's how you do it. So, Jason, thank you once again, my friend. It's been a lot of fun talking to you, and we'll see you shortly. And then everybody else, thank you for being here. And until next time, my friends, may the force be with you. Merry Christmas. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.